On behalf of Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marcino, the men and women of the Lee County Sheriff's Office, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Do the Right Thing ceremony for January 2021. Now, due to the pandemic, we've been on pause for a while. The last ceremony we actually held here was in February of 2020, so it has been a long time. And you might notice that I don't look the same as the guy that's been doing this for years. John McGraw did this for about 20 plus years and decided to retire on June 1st. So Sheriff Marcino selected me to replace John McGraw. I have some very large shoes to fill, and we want to thank John McGraw for all the years he did Do the Right Thing. Let's have a round of applause and a show of appreciation for John McGraw. Now, as we get started today, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and Thomas Kostovsky is going to do that for us. Come on up, Thomas. Go ahead. Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you. I'd like to begin today's ceremony by acknowledging the School Board of Lee County, Chairperson Debbie Jordan of District 4, Vice Chairperson Betsy Vaughn of District 6, Mary Fisher of District 1, Melissa Giovanelli with District 2, Chris Patrica with District 3, Gwinnetta Gittins with District 5, and Kathleen O'Daniel Morgan with District 7. Also, Dr. Gregory Atkins, Superintendent of Schools. We appreciate all you do for our student recognition program. Let's have a round of applause for the school board and for Dr. Atkins. And speaking of the school board, we're happy that board member Chris Patrica of District 3 could join us today. Please come to the podium and share a few words with our students and our audience.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing today? Good. We're here to celebrate our kids. How are we doing today? Awesome. It's wonderful to be back to celebrating children as a group. Can I ask the children to do me a favor? Can you all stand up, please? Can you look at your parents and guardians and give them a round of applause, please? Because without their guidance and without their support in your lives, you wouldn't be here today. So another round of applause for parents and guardians. You guys can all sit. Thank you. I want to tell you guys a story, if I may, about doing the right thing. This is a very personal story. It happened to me last night. I have 4 children. Pardon my back to you, but I really want to talk to the kids. I have 4 children, ages 13, 14, 15, and 17. My 13-year-old went out last night at around 7 o'clock to ride his electric scooter that he got for Christmas. And the rule in my house is if you're going to ride a bike or a scooter or a skateboard or any of that, you have to wear a helmet. And he didn't want to wear the helmet because none of his friends wear a helmet. In fact, many of his friends will put the helmet on when they leave the house and then take it off and put it on the handlebars so that their parents think they're wearing a helmet, but they're not really wearing a helmet. Well, my son fell last night on his scooter and he broke his wrist. And between last night and today, when they had a cast put on his arm, he saw 11 different medical people. He saw nurses, he saw doctors, he saw physician's assistants, he saw nursing assistants, that's not what they're called, nurse practitioners. He saw all kinds of very capable medical professionals, all of whom told him that if he hadn't been wearing a helmet, he would likely have had a very tragic outcome with some kind of a permanent brain injury. So I wasn't there. I wasn't there watching him and making sure that he was wearing his helmet, but he did the right thing, right? And in doing the right thing, he protected himself and he kept his family from having some significant heartbreak. Now, you guys aren't always going to be protecting yourself when you do the right thing. A lot of times you're protecting the people around you, and it doesn't always feel good to do the right thing because sometimes your friends might be pressuring you to do something different. But today you're here being celebrated for doing the right thing, and I encourage you to continue to do that every single time you have a decision to make. Think about how your actions could impact the people around you, and always make the right decision, okay? Yes? Do I get head nods on that? Yes? All right, fantastic. You guys rock. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chris Patricka of the school board. And Chris will be helping hand out some of the certificates and the trophies today as well. And speaking of that, representing Sheriff Marcino and also assisting today with the certificates and the trophies is Sergeant Walt Ryan with our Youth Services Division. Sergeant Ryan has assisted with many of these presentations, and we appreciate you being here today. Thank you for being here, Sergeant Ryan. And also representing Sheriff Marcino today in the crowd, we have Commander Chris Layler, and we have Major Chris Reeves, if you want to stand up. Thank you for joining us today. We also appreciate the support from our business community, including principal sponsors Lee County Electric Cooperative and Alliance Financial Group. In fact, we have Karen Ryan here today from Lee County Electric Cooperative. Karen, if you want to please come up here with Sergeant Ryan, we want to give you a plaque from the Lee County Sheriff's Office. This is a small token of our appreciation. Lee County Electric Cooperative has been a principal sponsor for Do the Right Thing as much as we can count, going at least back 25 years, a quarter of a century. Lee County Electric Cooperative and their generous contributions have made all of this possible. So let's have a big round of applause and a big thank you to Lee County Electric Cooperative, Karen Ryan. Thank you very much. Also with us today is another big supporter of our Do the Right Thing program, Circuit Judge Robert Branning. Judge Branning is a longtime advisory board member for Do the Right Thing, and each month he sends letters of congratulations to our students along with a pocket constitution. Judge Branning, please come up to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. I do want to begin by thanking Mr. Shaw for allowing me to have a few brief words along with Sheriff Marcino, the Lee County Sheriff's Office, Supervisor Adkins, and the Lee County School Board. So I think it's important to take a moment and realize why we're here and what Do the Right Thing actually means. I have the privilege of sitting on the felony criminal bench here in the 20th Circuit. As you may be aware, the 20th Circuit encompasses counties of Lee, Charlotte, Collier, Glades, and Hendry County. As you can imagine, unfortunately, a good portion of my docket is filled with people who have to suffer consequences for the decisions they've made. So in preparation of coming down here to speak and discussing with Mr. Shaw and obviously the legacy of Mr. McGraw, I thought I wanted to take a moment and just ask all of us here, everyone watching, and the fantastic young men and women today that are being honored, what does it mean to do the right thing? It is a simple phrase, but it carries more importance than I think perhaps we realize at first glance. The legendary basketball coach John Wooden has a quote that I often enjoy about character and reputation. I'll paraphrase, but it essentially goes, character is who you are. Reputation is what people think you are. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation. What matters, character and integrity, is what you do when no one's watching. I'd suggest to you, none of these honorees here today did what they do just for their reputation. They did it because of who they are, their character. and I agree with Mrs. Patrica, that has been instilled in them by their parents, their teachers, their relatives, their friends. Each of you have given these fantastic young men and women an internal compass that guides them. We live in a world where, social media can be a great thing. It can be a very fun thing, but it can also be illusory. People can strive to attain what they think they should be doing. They try to give an impression of themselves that is not genuine, that is not authentic. I'm going to suggest to the young men and women here today that, again, to echo the sentiments of Ms. Patrica, don't be concerned with what people tell you you should be doing. Don't be concerned with what society says. Be concerned with your character. Be concerned with who you are, what you know to be true, what you know to be right. Make good decisions. I have no doubt that everyone here going forward will continue to do the right thing. I am extremely privileged to be here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Judge Branning. One more word before we get started. If you look at the bottom of today's program, you'll see a YouTube address. Today's ceremony is being live streamed on the Lee County School District's YouTube channel at youtube.com/Lee Schools TV. Now, you could go there and subscribe and watch any of these Do the Right Thing ceremonies at your convenience, anytime, day or night. So again, youtube.com/Lee Schools TV. So you'll be able to go home and watch this ceremony anytime you would like to. We're here today to honor some outstanding students. We're going to hear stories about truly exceptional, special young people who are an inspiration to all of us. They're ordinary people who have done some extraordinary things. Now, due to COVID protocol, we're asking that each student have no more than 2 representatives come up front for their certificates and trophies and pictures. That's why the crowd here isn't what it normally is, and we can't wait to start getting large crowds again. So thank you for following this directive for now. We'll resume allowing lots of family, friends, principals, school resource officers, and teachers up front when it's safe to do so again. So let's get started with today's awards. Our first award winner today is from Fort Myers, and he did our Pledge of Allegiance, Thomas Kostovsky. Why don't you come on up here? Let's have a round of applause for Thomas Kostovsky. Thomas attends Three Oaks Elementary School. His principal is Tammy Lemaster, and his school resource officer is Deputy William Weaver. One more picture, Thomas. Okay, if those accompanying Thomas today want to come up there, and we'll hear Thomas's story. All right, Thomas Kostovsky is a 3rd grade student at Three Oaks Elementary. Three Oaks Elementary School Counselor Lori Wallace writes, Thomas found an iPhone on his bus. He took it home since he didn't know who it belonged to. Thomas and his mother came in the next morning and gave it to me, explaining the situation. I'm so proud that he was honest and showed integrity by returning the phone. He's such a great young man. For that, let me say thank you, Thomas Kostovsky, for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Thank you. All right, next up is Grayson Arnold. Let's have a round of applause for Grayson Arnold. Grayson lives in North Fort Myers and attends Bayshore Elementary School. His principal is Ben Ausman, and school resource officer is Deputy Kelsey Woldrup. If those accompanying Grayson today want to please come up, and we'll hear Grayson's story. All right, Grayson is a fourth grade student at Bayshore Elementary. Fourth grade teacher Stephanie Harold writes, Grayson is a wonderful student. He does the right thing daily, but one X he performs each day makes him exceptional. Grayson has taken it upon himself to befriend a student who needs extra encouragement and positive peer support. Grayson always offers this student a smile and words of encouragement. When this student is struggling, Grayson makes sure the student understands directions from his teachers. When this student becomes frustrated, Grayson is there to help calm the student with positive remarks. I am so proud of Grayson's initiative and recognition of a peer who needs a little extra help every day. He is truly making a difference every day. Great job, Grayson. Thank you for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Jaden Fuentes of Fort Myers. Now let's have a round of applause for Jaden Fuentes. Jaden attends Three Oaks Middle School. His principal is Dr. Mason Clark, and his school resource officer is Deputy Timothy Watkins. All right, with those attending with Jaden Fuentes today, please come up. All right. Jason Fuentes is a seventh grader at Three Oaks Middle School. His school resource officer, Deputy Watkins, writes, I was informed by Miss Campbell, the art teacher, that a student lost an expensive watch in her classroom. The student was frantic and visibly upset that the watch was missing. Miss Campbell told me that Jaden discovered the watch inside the classroom and immediately returned the watch to the student. Miss Campbell witnessed this act of kindness and notified the principal and school resource officer. Good work, Jaden. Jaden, thank you for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Up next is Aaliyah Swanson. Round of applause for Aaliyah Swanson. Aaliyah lives in Cape Coral and attends Pine Island Elementary School. Her principal is Dr. Tom Millens, and school resource officer is Corporal Wilfredo Rivera. Will those with Aaliyah today please come up to hear her story? Aaliyah Swanson is a third grade student at Pine Island Elementary. School resource officer Corporal Rivera writes, Aaliyah has been volunteering at the cat sanctuary in St. James City since the second grade and has been doing it with our fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Benjamin. Aaliyah always wanted a cat and says now she has 175 cats due to her volunteering at the sanctuary. Aaliyah knew it would take a lot of food to feed the cats, so she started a collection that has collected food and supplies to give to the sanctuary. Aaliyah says she wanted the cats to have a merry little Christmas. She's been able to volunteer and carry all A's and B's in her classes at the same time. Aaliyah has shown that hard work and determination can make good results. Aaliyah Swanson, thank you for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Up next, we have three recipients, Gabriella Rodriguez, Jocelyn Lemus, and Joanne Tavares. Let's have a round of applause for those three. Gabriella, Jocelyn, and Joanne. They all live in Cape Coral and attend North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts. The school principal is Andrea Guns, and the school resource officer is Corporal Chad Heineman. All right, with those accompanying Gabriella, Jocelyn, and Joanne, today please come up to hear their story. Gabriella Rodriguez is an 8th grader. Jocelyn Lemus is a 7th grader, and Joanne Tavares is an 8th grader at North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts. Assistant Principal Kimberly Mulham writes that Gabriella, Jocelyn, and Joanne acted quickly when their school bus driver needed to pull over because she was feeling faint. Once the driver pulled over, she passed out at the wheel. Gabriella, Jocelyn, and Joanne made sure the younger students on the bus were calm and not scared. They made calls to 911 and even contacted transportation through the bus radio. Their first priority was to make sure the driver was going to be okay, and then ensure the young riders on the bus were calm and safe. All 3 students are heroes in our book. Gabriella, Jocelyn, and Joanne, thank you for staying cool, calm, and collected and making sure everyone was safe. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is Jaden Jones. Are you here today, Jaden? All right, round of applause for Jaden Jones, everyone. Jaden lives in North Fort Myers and attends Tropic Isles Elementary. Principal is Robert Mazzoli, and the school resource officer is Deputy Edwin Antoine. And those here today with Jaden can please come up to hear Jaden's story. School Resource Officer Deputy Antoine writes, Jaden was in the lunchroom when another classmate began to choke on his lunch. Jaden immediately jumped into action and began to pat his friend on the back to clear the obstruction. This action more than likely helped clear the blockage and brought attention to the adults in the room. The child was ultimately okay. Jaden's quick action and courage in helping a friend shows that he deserves the Do the Right Thing award. Jaden Jones, thank you for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. All right, Trenton Snyder. Is Trenton here? All right. Let's have a round of applause for Trenton Snyder. Trenton lives in Lehigh Acres and attends Harns Marsh Elementary School. Principal there is Tracy Zinioni, and school resource officer is Deputy Christine Zumbrum. All right. Well, those with Trenton today, please come up to share his story. Trenton Snyder is in the 1st grade at Harns Marsh Elementary. Deputy Zumbrum writes, I was in a classroom where a student was having a difficult time coping with his emotions. Trenton returned to the classroom to gather his belongings, and before leaving the classroom, he took a moment to give the troubled student a caring hug and some kind, encouraging words. After speaking to Trenton's teacher, Miss Ellis, I learned that Trenton frequently helps other students who are having a difficult time, and he goes out of his way to be supportive of his fellow classmates. Trenton Snyder, thank you for being compassionate and doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Devontae Harris Jr. Devontae here? Okay, we'll give Devontae his trophy and certificate later. Next up, we have 2 honorees together, Gianna Mcfay and Chase Johnson. Gianna and Chase both live in Bonita Springs and attend Bonita Springs Charter School. Carissa Carroll is the principal, and the school resource officer is Deputy Nicholas Tallarico. Those with Gianna and Chase today, please come up to share their story. Deputy Caleb Ray made the nomination and writes, deputies responded to a residence in reference to an unconscious female that was unresponsive and possibly not breathing. After the female was treated and taken to the hospital, deputies learned that Gianna Mcfay and Chase Johnson had called 911 and reported the incident. Due to their quick thinking, calmness in a stressful situation, and amazing articulation to the dispatcher, deputies were able to respond and understand the situation prior to arrival. Gianna and Chase should be recognized for their actions. They are role models to their peers and have ultimately, possibly, saved someone's life. Gianna and Chase, thank you for quick thinking under pressure. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is Brian Hernandez. Let's have a round of applause for Brian Hernandez. Brian lives in Lehigh Acres and attends G. Weaver Hips Elementary School. School principal is Dr. Deborah Noss, and school resource officer is Deputy Michelle Henson. And those with Brian Hernandez can please come up. Brian Hernandez is a 5th grade student at G. Weaver Hips Elementary. Deputy Henson writes, a teacher notified me that Brian had stopped a bullying situation from escalating. Brian heard a few disturbing comments being made and used his voice and courage to notify the teacher. He felt he needed to help a fellow student from being bullied. He has displayed great leadership, kindness, and courage this year. Brian Hernandez, thank you for stepping in and doing the right thing to protect another student. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is David Martin. David, are you here? Come on up, David. Round of applause for David Martin. David attends Cypress Lake Middle School. His principal is Matt Miller, and school resource officer is Corporal Garfield Young. Will those here today for David Martin please make their way up front? David Martin is a 7th grader at Cypress Lake Middle School. Corporal Young writes, while participating in Learning Lab in the Media Center, David was sitting next to a student he had buddied up with in the past due to the student's seizures. David saw the student's eyes rolling back and recognized this to be a seizure. David immediately grabbed the attention of the media specialist who was in another area. Thanks to David's quick action, the student received medical attention before the onslaught of a full seizure. Excellent job, David. You are the epitome of do the right thing. David Martin, thank you for being there and doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Luz Francisco. Is Luz here today? Have her, we'll give her her certificate and trophy at school. Destiny Villanueva Favela. Destiny. Round of applause for Destiny Villanueva Favela. Destiny attends Oak Hammock Middle School. The principal there is Jennifer McMillan Barnes, and the school resource officer is Diego Orwela. And those with Destiny today can please come up to hear her story. Deputy Orwela writes, Destiny heard some noise coming from the girls' restroom. Many students were in the hallway and walked right past the restroom, but Destiny did not feel right walking past the restroom and was concerned. Destiny entered the restroom to discover another student laying on the floor having a medical event. Destiny assisted and remained with the student until it was safe for the student to be alone in order to get help from school staff. Destiny did an outstanding job. Where many students walked by, Destiny decided to act, and for this, I feel Destiny did the right thing. Destiny, we can't say it better. Thank you for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Coy Padgett. Coy. All right, round of applause for Coy Padgett. Coy lives in Lehigh Acres and attends Alva Middle School. The principal is Beth Barfield, and school resource officer is Deputy John Kahn. And those with Coy today, please come up to hear Coy's story. Coy is a 7th grader at Alva Middle School. School counselor Leslie Naylor sent the nomination on behalf of Emma's Hope Charity Organization, which says, Coy Padgett entered a charity cornhole competition to raise money for Emma's Hope Charity Organization. Coy was randomly paired with another youth in a blind draw, and they went undefeated to the finals. Despite their adult competition, Coy and his partner Jason won the grand prize of $500. Coy and Justin immediately donated the $500 prize back to Emma's Hope Charity Organization. Emma's Hope focuses on providing kids with life-threatening disabilities prescribed therapies or devices they require but cannot afford. $500 is a lot of money, Coy. Thank you for helping others and doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. And finally up is Colin Davis. Round of applause for Colin Davis, please. Colin lives in Estero and attends Orange River Elementary School. Principal is Casey Sterick, and school resource officer is Deputy Gregory Bryant. And those with Cullen today, please come up to hear his story. Cullen is a 3rd grade student at Orange River Elementary. He was nominated by environmental teacher Sidonia Folk Todd. Ms. Todd writes, many times students come to school not with a learning brain, which is a brain that is playful, ready to learn, and feeling confident, but rather a survival brain, one that focuses on threats, panic, making mistakes, and feeling unequal. This is where Cullen comes in. When someone is down and out, Cullen is there by their side within seconds, by maybe handing them a Kleenex or giving them a hug. Now, the result of Cullen's direct interaction, 2 students who sit at his table now get up and do the same thing. Cullen has become an active, empathetic member of our classroom now and has created more empathetic students. Cullen also helped out a fellow student diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. He ordered MS Orange bracelets and sold them, earning $350 to contribute to the student's family. In my 39 years of teaching, I have never seen an amazingly thoughtful child who wants to save people and animals in our world. I am honored to nominate Cullen for the Do the Right Thing Award. Colin Davis, thank you for being there for other people and thinking of them first. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Remember to subscribe to the Lee County School District's YouTube channel, and again, as I mentioned earlier, watch repeats of today's ceremony anytime you would like to watch. As we conclude today, let's take to heart the inspiring stories that we've heard today, learn from them, and let us remember to always choose to do the right thing. Thank you, and finally, let's give our students one more big standing ovation.